Welcome back to Simply Scratch Kitchen. If you're new here, my name is Hannah and we are back today with our $5 dinner series at every grocery store in my area. And today we are going to the Dollar General just up the road. I live in the middle of nowhere, so this is a very authentic Dollar General experience. Boxes stacked everywhere and kind of low on the food stock. So we're gonna see if we can make any kind of $5 dinner using only ingredients from the Dollar General. If you've watched my other videos in this series, you'll know my goal with this is to try to make the most nutritious meals that I can. So these are not just like the most extreme budget meals, but they are, of course, very affordable. And I wanted to show you that we can actually make really inexpensive meals no matter what kind of store you have. We're able to use some pantry items if we need them, just to kind of replicate a more authentic experience, if you have just some flour and spices and things in your cabinet. And so we're gonna head into the Dollar General and see what we can find. I have a feeling this is going to be actually a little bit tricky because I think they're going to have kind of a selection like a Dollar Tree, but more at higher end grocery store prices. So let's head in and see what we can find. I went straight to the meat to see what kind of protein we would be working with, and I did find this bag of chicken that was $3 and had 40 grams of protein for the whole bag, but I could just not find enough ingredients for $2 to round that out. Even the frozen vegetables were $2 a bag, so I ended up grabbing a block of pepper jack cheese, a can of corn, a bag of corn tortillas, refried beans, and diced tomatoes. And we are going to make a sort of Mexican lasagna out of this. I think it's going to have a good amount of protein. We've got a few veggies in there, and I'm going to show you how easy this is to put together. All of this food came to about $5.25, which I think is a pretty good deal for the amount of food that we are about to make. So I'm just opening all of these cans first, and we're going to mix the refried beans, this sort of diced tomato rotel mix, and the corn together. I'm going to leave the juice in my tomatoes just to add more flavor to these beans. We're going to make a sort of Mexican lasagna with these ingredients, and so we're going to mix all of this sort of solid mixture together, and then we're going to layer it with the tortillas and the cheese. So I'm just getting my refried beans out, and these tend to be kind of thick, so we are going to use the juice from those diced tomatoes to thin it out and add more flavoring as well. I combined these two things well, and then I drained my can of corn. I decided I did not need that much liquid, so I did drain the corn and then combined that as well. So just sort of imagine this is like your marinara meat sauce blend for a lasagna, and that's what we're going to do here. Next, I'm going to shred up this whole block of cheese, and I did end up getting pepper jack, but they had like mozzarella and cheddar as well if you prefer one of those. This did add a little bit of heat to the dish. Once I've got all that shredded, I pull out my big enamel cast iron skillet. My mother actually just got me this from the Lodge store, and I have loved it because I can use it for so many things. I'm going to take these corn tortillas and we're going to just start layering it like a lasagna. So I started with about 4 on the bottom of my skillet. That's about how much space that I had. And then, like I said, we're going to just layer about 1.5 cups of the bean mixture on each layer of this dish. I just use the back of my measuring cup to spread this around because you are not going to see me messing up any more dishes than is absolutely necessary. And I did like that about this dish, that we were able to just make it all in one pan and didn't need to cook it up in several different bowls. So I'm just layering about 1/3 of my cheese onto this layer, and then we're going to continue the layering. I tried to alternate and place the tortillas on top of the seams of the previous tortillas just to give it a little bit more structure, so maybe like the beans wouldn't all leak out into the bottom of the pan. And then again, I did about another 1.5 cups of the bean mixture, spread it out, topped it with cheese, and then we did one more layer. For the final layer, again, 4 tortillas, and then we're going to end with the bean mixture and then the cheese on top so that all of that gets nice and golden and crispy when we bake it. As always with these $5 budget meals, this is not a perfect meal. There is always something better that you could buy, but my goal is to show you the best thing that you can buy at each grocery store for this amount of money. And my goal is to always have some kind of protein and some kind of vegetable in each dish, even if it's not as much as we might prefer, but I want to give you good options at every grocery store that will feed an entire family. I baked this on 375 for about 30 minutes until the cheese was nice and melted and the beans were bubbly and the tortillas were nice and crispy. This was very filling, very tasty, and it made a lot of food, so I think we did really good for that $5 budget. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like these types of videos, be sure to like and subscribe so you do not miss future ones, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.